Hello and welcome to our daily sketching routine. It is Tuesday, September 9th, 2025, and today's topic is going to be sketching the hero's journey, and then this is about the return stage. But before we begin, welcome back if you're returning, speaking of return, and welcome if you're new to the channel. I sketch and post every day, and I use a timer to stay focused and to build a habit. I'll start a 10-minute timer, and I won't do a ton. I haven't looked at this since yesterday. I'll link to that video which showed how I began. It's come a long way. I spent a couple hours and it turned into its own thing, which was the point. I mean, it was all from imagination, and that's what happens. But yeah, I'll put a before picture. I'll talk about what I used. So in yesterday's video, I was just using this felt tip pen. This kind of like my favorite. Like 80% of the time I'm using this thing, and I just put it's a Papermate felt tip pen, but I just put this grip that I had. But I've started using this more, the fine point. So this is a Sharpie, but it's a fine point. I like these Tombow brush pen things, and so that's how I got the dark areas. I also have like a white paint marker, which I was thinking I could go in and add highlights. Part of it is like why it looks like this is it's a spontaneous thing. So when you add like values like dark and light and everything, sometimes you have to keep going with it, and then like you kind of like overwork it. So yeah, if you are doing something like this, it's good to kind of step away from it, because after a while you can't really tell. So the circle itself, that was sort of like the beginning point, was just drawing like a freehand circle. Now I did go in and adjust, like add it to it and stuff. I can just kind of go over the techniques. So I did that on purpose, sort of like these different techniques. So I can kind of do that just to make sure that I do my sketching. So one thing, for example, is stippling. So I've gone over all of these things. It's just that, I mean, at this point, this is more than a sketch. It's like a drawing and almost kind of like a painting in a way. But yeah, so this is stippling. So these are techniques is what they are, but you could just use one technique for the whole thing. Or yeah, I just kind of used almost like pretty much all the ones that I know. So there's stippling. You can only have so much focus to this, but it can be kind of fun. And then the other thing is the cross hatching. So you can cross hatch. I mean, I like this, that it's kind of blended. Like that's like a soft edge right there. The pen does matter. So this is like a fine point. So I'm using it mostly like in the background. You can get some blending by adding the stippling with like the hatching. And so the size of like the hatching like matters. So you can get some blending that way. I would definitely wait to add fine detail, but I mean, if you're not seeing where that would be. So what I mean is fine detail could be, yeah, going in with like the white paint and adding like a highlight if necessary, but that's what I mean. And then here it's a mixture of the brushwork and then like just adding hatching and then I just built everything up gradually. It got pretty dark because I was adjusting things, and the values have to like go with it. And obviously I added this character. So just to kind of close out the video, I wanted to go over the topic, which is like the return. So it turned into this. Like I didn't exactly think that it was going to be like the hero's journey like sketch. The return is sort of the last leg of the hero's journey. And this isn't like exactly, but I mean, you can always check out the book by Joseph Campbell. I think it's The Hero with 1,000 Faces. So back in November of last year, I did this one, and it ended up being like a 2,000 subscriber thank you sketch, but it just started like this. So the beginning of it is like the ordinary world. And so at this point, this sort of represents like crossing the threshold. I just called it like the challenge. But basically, you're leaving the familiar territory. And so for me, just to relate this back to something that I'm doing, this was basically deciding to post every day on the channel. And then when you face the challenge, the next thing is meeting the mentor. So for me, that was really about organizing everything that I know about drawing and painting and just doing art and stuff, and like being creative, focusing on that and organizing my thoughts and stuff. So that was a lot like the mentor part of it, because it started becoming a methodology. So this was in January of this year. I called it the inmost cave. So So the inmost cave is approaching like the ordeal. It's like a gut check in a way. That's the way I think about it. So then after that, so this one was in May. So I called it the ordeal. It ended up being the ordeal. I didn't start it off like that. But before the ordeal, there's like the enemies and like the allies and stuff like that. To me, like that's just like all the work. The enemies could also just be your own fears. And then I guess maybe this could be like the shadow. You kind of meet your shadow. And so after the ordeal would be basically like the return, like once you get through this. So I'm actually adding this after I recorded the previous video because I forgot about this page and this stage of the hero's journey, which is seizing the sword. And I forgot because this was actually done on a sheet of Bristol paper. I made some videos about this. But yeah, I wanted to make a big illustration using different mediums. It's mixed media, but maybe the sword is that, like just working on a bigger sheet of paper using colors and paints and stuff. So here's a look at this. But yeah, I just used color pens, also some acrylic markers. I kind of forgot in the return, like after this part is like the resurrection part. So in a movie or a story, it's where the hero seems to die in some way. For me, it had a lot to do with internal validation is what I'm going to call it. And that's kind of what the 4-week commitment, because I basically thought I went through the ordeal, but really this sort of represented like the 4-week commitment because I was already doing the daily, I post every day, but just by making like a 4-week commitment, it changes the feel of it. But then I just kind of did it because I thought it would be helpful. I mean, I want people to benefit from it or get value from it, but like I can't control that. So finally, here's the return. And so the return is really about taking all of that stuff, like all of the hero's journey that you were on, and sharing it, because it's supposed to represent the healing potion or the elixir or like the magic sword or whatever, or like the force. In my case, I guess it's just pretty much everything I know. I proved it to myself. I saw that it could, and that's kind of what this was about. It was just from imagination. I saw that it could be done. Like it takes practice. After that, it just kind of keeps repeating. But yeah, that'll be it for today. I want to thank you for joining me for our daily sketching routine. And if you enjoy these videos, please support the channel. I appreciate it. And until next time, keep on sketching.